Okay, Sridhar, you're on. Could you tell us about this patient?
Yeah. Let me explain everything. I welcome all of you to Hyderabad Live. Go to 18. Let me explain before proceeding to the case. I'm very happy to be with all of you. Just can you show the first slide? So before starting, let me introduce my close friend and senior cardiologist, Dr. Krishna Kishore Reddy, Dr. Shravan, Dr. Guru Chaitanya, Venu, Vasu, all the technicians. And first, let me have the first slide. So this is a 54-year-old male, known diabetic with a strong family history of coronary artery disease. And the patient underwent PC of LCX in 2010 with Cypher stent, 2 stents. And subsequently, he was doing well all the time, but 2 years back, he developed ACS, for which he underwent the PCI of LAD and RCA with Onyx. And his hemoglobin, serum creatinine, biochemical parameters are very fine, and ECG normal. Echo, no RWMA, good LV function, and underwent stress thallium, which showed significantly positive L6 territory. Now, this angiogram may have, can you show the angiograms? This is the angiogram. You can see the proximal stenosis of the ISR of the LCX stent. This is a focal stenosis. So, and there is a LMC also borderline lesion. You can go to the next view. Go to the next view. And there is a lesion distally. Distal to the stent also there is a lesion, and in between areas of stenosis, and proximal stent also, proximal to the stent there is edge restenosis, and borderline lesion of the LMCA. Right coronary stents are very well patent and with good immediate 3 flow. Go to the next. Yeah. So with this one, what we thought, we will do the FFR study of the LAD, because stress thallium did not show any inducible ischemia in LAD territory, but angiographically it is looking significant. So even if you see the LMCA, you can show these views. Now come to the present procedure. Initially we did the FFR study. I'll show the FFR study. This one you can project. This one. Now we did the intention was patient is having a classical inducible ischemia in L6 territory. There is a tight stenosis of the proximal LCX, that is because of the ISR, LMCA borderline lesion, and LAD areas of ISR with a distal tight stenosis. So we wanted to see whether really LAD needs any intervention or LCX only to be addressed. So we did the FFR study. Surprisingly, FFR study is significantly positive without any adenosine. Resting FFR, it was 0.8. When we gave NTG, it came down to 0.67. So I'll show the values. I think you can see the after NTG, that is value is 0.69. Then we pulled back. When we pulled back, then maximum step up at distal segment of the stent as well as the beyond the stent. So that is the area of tight stenosis. Then we thought then we'll run the OCT images. Can you project this one? First view. Yeah, L6 to LM. Now you can see very clearly. I think I will show. Is it you are able to see now very clearly? Yeah, I will operate. Give me one slide. I will change the gloves. Just now you can see very clearly. There is a area of tight stenosis proximally, and proximally also this is the previous stent. We can see the nice longitudinal view. Stent is expanded well, but proximally this is a very tight stenosis. You can see the tight stenosis. It's more of like a you see some areas of calcification, mild calcification, and you can see very clearly the very tight ISR. So this is post dilatation with 2 mm balloon, and I think this is very critical lesion, and this is almost extending into the. I'll see. This is the LMCA convergence. You can see LMCA doesn't have any stent. LMCA area is 9 square mm. So LMCA not that significant disease. That is 7.34. So area is good, but my plan is suppose if you are doing a stent of the. Now I'll show the LAD run. Go to the next LED run. We took 2 runs of LED and proximal to mid, sorry, distal to mid and mid to proximal, extending up to the LMCA. Then you see the area beyond the stent, there is a tight stenosis. And this is almost lipid-rich plaque. You can see very lipid. These are macrophages. You can see very clearly more than 270-degree plaque. That is a very thick lipid plaque, and these are the areas of macrophages. And you can see the very tight plaque. This is a trilaminar structure. Here more than 180 degrees, and this is a fibrotic plaque. Areas fibrolepid plaque, and you can see very tight 0.94. That is the reason FFR became very positive 0.69, and you can see the area luminal area 1.24, and here is tight, the distal edge of the stent, and now the stented portion also 1.39. It's a really underexpanded distally. Now this is also 2 square mm. You can see the area of stenosis and ISR. This the plaque burden is more than 50%, and you can see very tight stenosis distally. Entire distal portion of the stent as well as beyond the stent there is a tight narrowing, and this is the calcium outside. This is called paleoatherosclerosis. It also plays a very big role in the development of the progression of the ISR. Now these are called evaginations. You can see the finger-like projections, and this is also cause of stent thrombosis, almost seen in 8 to 10% of. You can see the finger-like projection, evaginations. It's one of the cause of stent thrombosis, and you can see the clear some of the stents are not properly endothelialized, and you can see the very tight stenosis. And as we come proximally, you can see the inside this is a calcium. You can see very clearly neoatherosclerosis and atheroma, because the neoatherosclerosis areas of lepidintima as well as calcific enteroma. Go to the next. And this is the proximal LED to LMCA run. Then we wanted to see how is the proximal LED, how is the proximal. You can see very clearly. You can see this is the left main. This is LCX. This is LED ostium. This entire one is the proximal to mid LED. And I'll show very. Now you see the stent here. This is not fully endothelialized. Some areas not fully. Now you see the calcium. Lot of calcium is there. The other reason is stent is not fully expanded. The area of the stent is only 3.4 square mm, and it needs much bigger LED stent. And you see the there is a from here onwards stent is not there, and we were measured the exact length where see here calcium is there, here studs are there, and you can see the very clearly lipid plaque. You can see the macrophages very clearly, and from here onwards there is a narrowing is there. This is the area for some calcic nodule is there, and now you can see proximally it's a very tight ostium of the LED. The LED ostium is only 4 square mm. So even if you take the recent ESC guidelines, the proximal reference diameter, distal reference diameter, landing zone should be at least more than 4 square mm. I feel this is significant, and here the strategy I wanted to go with the DK crust stenting. Suppose LCX stent is up to the ostium, LMCA is small. Suppose you put a more metal into the LCX, because 2 layers will be there, then the chance of restore is very high. So that is the reason we wanted to extend short stent in the left circumflex and go with the DK crust stenting and crush the stent in the LMCA from LCX to LMCA, and we can stent the uncovered portion of the proximal LED extending into the LMCA and optimize with the OCT. So here is a case where patient present with ISR of the LED, ISR of the LCX, and left main bifurcation and involvement. Though left main is not significantly as per the criteria, but this patient definitely requires the DK crust stenting, because recent ESC guidelines also favored whenever you do the distal left main bifurcation, if we are using a 2-stent technique. The first choice is provisional stenting. If you are going with the 2-stent technique, the DK crust should be preferred if you are comfortable, if you have experience to manage it. Otherwise, use the technique whichever is familiar to you. That's the most important. So here now we are already implanted the stent. I'll show the angiogram views. Go to the angiogram views. Go to the next.
Before we get there, can we have a little bit of a discussion?
Yeah.
Potentially.
I think Dr. Sushil and Dr. Ramesh Daggapati is
Yes.
very good
Hi.
afternoon. Very nice to see both of you. Very happy to see both of you, and welcome to Hyderabad Live. You always contributed a lot of academic activity to Indian faculty. Thank you once again. And this is my discussion. Anything is there, you can interact and you can discuss this case.
Thank you, and thanks for having us. It's a beautiful introduction. I think clearly you've highlighted a lot of the issues. I think before we even get to that, I guess the one question is in terms of the heart team discussion in a 54-year-old diabetic with restenosis. The question of CABG versus PCI with distal left main, especially I think it's important with the data recently, just to make sure that conversation occurs. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on that and others as well.
Here, why we preferred, because already a lot of metal jacket is distally diffuse disease of the LAD. Almost if you see, you go to the LAD, arrhythmocranial, and multiple areas of ISR, and you see diffuse disease, even distal portion. Even if you are putting a graft to LAD, it supplies only the small portion of the distal portion of the LAD, and I think it will not perfuse, the graft also will not perfuse the LAD area. It can serve the purpose to the LCX, but if you see the OCT images, LAD in multiple areas, proximally tight stenosis, even in segments of stent also significantly underexpanded with areas of ISR, distal diffuse disease. And beyond the stent also there is a diffuse disease. And even if they put distal graft, definitely it is not going to perfuse retrogradely. I think that's the reason we have chosen the strategy of PCI, that is DK crush, because the LCX osteal lesion is there. Crush it and extend this one. Another way we can do LMCA to LCX, you can put the stent. Otherwise, stent crush in the LAD to minimize the stent extension into the LCX. That's the best way. Only short length you cover from LMCA to LCX and crush the stent into LAD, and you can cross and do it. And subsequently, we wanted to do the DEB to the remaining portion of the unstented, not presently, which is not stented. That segment we wanted to give a good DEB. If needed, I will add a score flex, because the recent data suggested if you scoring with DEB, because it creates some like a small fissure, through that drug can percolate very easily, and the restenosis rate is relatively less. So I request you to highlight this issue, and I request your opinion regarding the strategy, CABG versus. This is my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's a very good point, Dr. Sridhar. What Sushil is saying is very important as well in this patient who is having high chance of instant restenosis, probably because of uncontrolled diabetes. And in multivessel disease, obviously, we all have to make sure that we discuss with the patient and the family about the outcomes of PCI in this patient may not be optimal. And especially given his diffuse LAD disease, he may not even be a surgical candidate as well. So there is, I agree that the distal portion is severely diffuse disease. You may not be able to graft it, so you have to optimize as much as possible. But given his intrinsic risk factors, I think the restenosis rates are higher. He may be coming back again for another visit to the cath lab, maybe within the year, if at all. So also you have to think about what is the long-term antiplatelet therapy, and whether you want to use antiplatelets, the low dose, the rivaroxaban, all these questions, I think the ones that we will consider to make sure that you can prevent him from coming back to the cath lab. So I think, in my opinion, DK crush is really good. It's not a provisional single stent with DEB, and obviously we do not have DEB approved commercially in the United States. And Sushil, do you think this one should be dealt with the DK crush, or do you think provisional and DEB?
I mean, I think in terms of strategy, I think the two questions are how much needs to be treated, right? Again, you don't, in some of these scenarios, the question is, do you need to treat the entire left LAD? And you could argue treat the left main osteo-LAD proximal circ and you're going to leave most of that distal stuff behind because again, you can start chasing yourself all the way down. You're trying to reduce ischemic burden. I would definitely do the strategy that Dr. Sridhar is doing with the DK crush. I mean, I think in terms of, protecting the circ, LAD, getting the best result, best coverage of both ostia, I think that's going to be the patient's best chance for a better long-term outcome. But it's always hard in these scenarios. But I would probably do the proximal and maybe reassess whether the distal needs to be done. You could do the proximal, repeat the FFR if you wanted. It's not going to be perfect. I mean, I think you're seeing this in India, this young man, 54, extensive disease process, poorly controlled diabetes. So you can't completely cover the entire LAD and circ. And I think, I don't know, Ramesh, would you just treat, how long, what lesions would you treat? I mean, I think that's an important question.
Sridhar.
Yeah.
Sridhar, there is a short talk, as I said, of Praveen Chandra. So
Okay.
we will go for the talk and come back to you in 10 minutes.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Let's have Dr. Praveen Chandra's talk.
And Sushil, what do you think about actually, I mean, obviously bypass, as we said, is number one choice, but because of his diffuse disease, it may not be possible. What do you think about DEB to actually the distal LAD? Earlier, we were talking about DEB to osteo circumflex. What are your thoughts about distal vessel DEB?
So I agree. I would not put stent that distal LAD because again, if you stent all the way to the distal LAD, I understand that CABG is not ideal. But if you put a stent all the way down to that apex of the LAD, you've taken CABG off the table in this 54-year-old gentleman. So we don't haven't had easy access to DEBs outside the peripheral balloons. So, but I think in this scenario, avoid stenting the distal LAD and doing a DEB, but also try to be judicious about whether to treat that distal LAD as well. I think that's, to me, is a question, how much needs to be treated?
Take 2-3 balloons.
The proximal disease may be enough. I don't know. Would you treat all the way distal, Ramesh?
No, I would leave it. I just
LAD
do
same
the
balloon.
proximal. We can't make it perfect. In this patient, unfortunately, the LAD I don't think can be made into a perfect situation. Dr. Sridhar, can you hear us?
Yeah, and now we are able to hear.
Okay.
Now let me explain. Go back, brother. I think I left you where the first kissing was done. Go back. Still you have to go back. Go back. Go back. 1 minute. Now this is we have crushed the LCX stent with a 3.5 balloon. The crushing is very important. You have to take adequate size balloon, otherwise the crush will not be proper. So then go to the next. Then we have crossed the recross. Go to the next. Now we are opening the struts again using the 1.5 balloon. Go to the next. Then first kissing. So many times people think that DK crush is more cumbersome, but first if you do the proper kissing, the second time wire will cross very easily. And now this is the first kissing. Go to the next. Then we measure the length by OCT. The usefulness of OCT in DK crush, whether have you done the adequate crush or not, whether you have crossed the proximal or distal strut, or that is also very important. At the same time, whether you are placing the wire, is it luminal or abdominal? Suppose if the wire is abdominal, it may lead to longitudinal shortening of the stent. And as per the Excel study, the longitudinal shortening is almost noted in 6.5% of patients. It's not a small number, it's a big number. Many times angio will not show the longitudinal shortening, and angio will not show the under expansion, malopposition, which are the predictors of the death. So here, after the crushing, then we took the, based on the OCT parameters, we have chosen the 34 mm Onyx stent, that is 3 mm stent, extending from the left main ostium to the, because short left main always I prefer to go with, even the left main also diffuse the disease, because entire left main areas are almost like a 7-8 mm. Usually our even in India also 12, more than 12 square mm, left main 12, 14, 15 square mm, but here only 7.5 to 8 square. That means a diffuse disease. That's the reason we have chosen 3 mm, and subsequently go to the next.
Dr. Sridhar, can I ask a question right there?
Yes,
I think you raised an important point that I think emphasized these left mains. You know, you should just take it, especially these short left mains, take the stent all the way back to the ostium, because then you make it very difficult with that restenosis and stuff. So.
The left mains, particularly in the short left main, or any time if you are keeping in the mid, sometimes the proximal dissection is there, you end up in putting another stent, then you are adding 2 more metal layers that is overlapping in the left main, and that may lead to more ISR. I personally feel better if you are short left main, unless it is very too long proximally. The left main is normal, like almost 3.54 mm diameter. That time you can choose, but ideally short left main, go to the ostium and extend, and that is the optimization. Again, after then we did the part, just go. Part using the, we took the 4 mm balloon with high pressure inflation, then go to the next. This is the post part. Then before crossing again, we use the part. Then this open, the side branch opening very clearly. So this is crossing again after part. Then before doing the final kissing. So this strut is proximal, and we were unable to place the balloon. So that's the reason we withdrawn. And then next, go to the next. Next, go to the next. Next, go to the next. No, go back. Go back. Final kissing. We have to do the final. Now, after part, now we are going ahead with the final kissing. Already we have crossed the struts. Then before you put 2 balloons. And I'll show the OCT once again regarding crush evaluation. Go to the.
Yeah, we could see that you crossed it in the distal cell after the part when you recross. So that was
now
very good.
Now you can see here, proximally, that is after 3 mm balloon dilatation, the dissection. It's a big vessel. It's not a, though luminal area small, if you take an external elastic diameter is almost like a 3.5 vessel, and you can see very clearly the dissection, and you see the LCX ostial strut. It's nicely open, and sorry, 1 minute. And you see the here left main. See the distal left main, there is a crushed stent you can see. And you can also measure the exact length, whether you have extended 2 mm or 3 mm or 5 mm. So ideally, any crush should be 2 to 3 mm extension is more than enough. You can see the bifurcation. I'll take the measurement also. You can see very clearly to what length we have crushed also. We can see very clearly. Now, here we are still, this is ending. That means 2.6 mm. The stent, the crushed portion in the left main is about 3 mm. So you can see the left main. Now we are doing the, after crossing, then we are going ahead with the final kissing balloon. And after that, we'll do the final part, because the part is very important. That is elliptical index. That is a diameter, longitudinal plus the horizontal plus vertical. It should be more than 0.7. So that is, if you do the only kissing, sometimes it may be elliptical. So if you do the final part, definitely it's more geometrical shape, because that the restenosis is rate also very late. And we'll see the final areas. That is, have you achieved the left main distal more than 8 square mm? That point of convergence more than square mm. And LAD proximal, is it more than 7 square mm? LCX 6 square mm. This is this figure of, if you achieve these targets, the ISR rate is much lower, MACE rate is much lower, that is 98% versus 89%. So that's the reason we always aim for these figures. And at the same time, have you landed in a landing zone? Is it expanded well or not? Is it malopposed or not? Any tissue prolapse, any thrombus, and these things, any geographic, suppose have you landed in a TCFA, the restenosis rate is very high. So that's the reason any malopposition, all these things, that is PCA optimization. Then you have taken OCT. Yeah, final kissing done. Huh? Give me. Now we are doing the final kissing. Meanwhile, anybody, I request the discussion from the panelists and moderators.
I think you have to have enough stent length in the left main to do a part, which I think is the most important part. That's why you go back all the way to the ostium of the left main to have a room for doing part. And the ellipticity index, I think, is very important. And even though it has been only studied retrospectively in all the left main PCI, that we know that there is still a dynamic motion of the left main. So how much is it really going to contribute in the prospective study? We have to evaluate, but I'm not sure anybody will be planning to do that. It's more of a bench type of research that we saw that the ellipticity index does make a role factor and predict instant restenosis in people who are more elliptical in the left main.
Now we are doing the final kissing.
Sushil, any comments?
No, I mean, I think that this is, I know people always say that, more cumbersome or it takes more time, but, I think the key thing is the technique is key in these type of lesions. And I think these little details are the keys between success and failure, not only in the short term and risk, but I think the goal has to be the best option for a durable long-term result. And this is a nice illustration of step-by-step use of intravascular imaging, really optimized. And, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of equipment. And I think if you do a shortcut on this, it's not doing the patient a favor, and it's just, saving one balloon or saving one step is not good for the patient. I think that's important to keep in mind. And then if the imaging doesn't support a good result, then go back and try and optimize. But all these things, bringing the stent back to the left main, doing the pot, recrossing, doing a proper kiss at the end, and then doing imaging at the end is key.
Now this is the final kiss. After that final kiss, again we'll take the final OCT runs. Fortunately, GFR is very good. Now the quantity of I think we used only 250 ml contrast. Then now after OCT, really if apposition is good, no malapposition, under expansion is not there, stent optimization, the test results are good. Even if I don't do part also, no problem, because we are seeing by OCT that what is the left main area, what is the LCX ostium area, what is the LAD area, and subsequently based upon that whether to do like already you got the spherical shape without any elliptical type, then you can even stop doing the part also.
Yeah, so Kirti in the previous session gave a nice lecture about imaging in left main and size. So what is your goal? What are you going to accept as your minimal size? And obviously you have to take into account the patient's vessel size. There's differences in all these studies between Asia, Europe, and
see,
US.
This is you can see after final kissing balloon, left main is nicely expanded. I think LCX ostium is also very well. The most common cause of failure in left main bifurcation is LCX ostium. So many times the visualization of the LCX by imaging is very, very important. Is it adequately expanded or not? So if you optimize that one, most of the time the LCX. So when you do the two stent technique, the imaging is must. So when compared to provisional stenting, two stent technique, when you do the imaging, almost the MACE rate is much lower. The ADAPT-DA sub-study has shown very clearly, suppose as the severity of the complexity of the PCI increases, the results of the IVS better, like compared to single vessel, two vessel better, compared to two vessel, three vessel better. And diffuse long lesions, the IVS showed better results. Similarly, bifurcation lesions, left main lesions, the usefulness of imaging, that is mainly proper expansion and apposition, that produces the better long-term results. And now we are doing the final OCT to see the left main stent area and LAD area, and subsequently I will do the LCX OCT also to see the LCX areas. And suppose sometimes the vessel is small, no need to go ahead with like a 5 square mm, but compared to distal reference diameter, have achieved more than 90%. But as per the recent guidelines, then better is it more than 80, at least 80% should be there. That's very important. You take here. It's enough, it's fine.
So
Now let us see the left main stent based upon the OCT. Many people think that OCT is not useful, but I'm very, very comfortable doing the left main OCTs because only small portion you may miss, but left main distal, definitely this will show more clear view that the areas are very, very accurate. You are ready?
Yeah, so the way you're doing is the right way, Sridhar. You see the guide is still there. Don't pull the guide out.
Yeah, beautiful.
You won't get any good image. You can probably even see near the ostium beyond the guide as well. So one of the questions from the audience, Mohammed asked, what size balloons and what pressures do you use?
I think my and call that person. Speaker may not. Yeah. No, you take this area. Huh? Area?
Ramesh, while they're discussing.
See area.
One thing that we went over quickly, the key question is coverage of the ostium, as Dr. Sridhar said, of the circumflex, which is the highest point of failure. So one technique issue that went by sort of quickly, because I think we were at the talk at this time, was after you do that first crush of the circ stent and you do that first kiss, where do you recross the circ stent, right? The distal strut more than the proximal strut to ensure coverage. And maybe it's worth a quick comment from a technique standpoint, because that what allows you to get the most coverage.
Yeah. So
now you see the. I think. Am I interrupting?
No. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Now left main area. You see now the 13 square mm, extremely good. Yeah. The mean diameter is 4.1. So in the left main area, you can see very clearly the proximal portion is almost 13 and 10 and 12, and every rate is convergence is 9.5 square mm, and proximal LAD you see almost we have achieved.
Dr. Sridhar, we lost you for a little while. So I think based on Excel, this is very good. We used to say 5, 6, 7, 5 in the ostial circumflex, 6 in the ostial LAD, and 7 in the confluence, and 8 in the left main. That has actually been shown that it's not true in the Excel. The larger numbers that you get, it is better. You can go up to 8 in the ostial circumflex, 9 in the ostial LAD, 10 in the confluence, and even more than 11 in left main has been shown to be better. Obviously, the greater you get dimensions, the better it is. And to answer your question, Sushil, in view of time, actually, the first cross should be proximal cell according to Chao Liang Chen's group. And the second cross, after stenting the left main into LAD, then you should actually, the final kissing has to be done through the distal cell. And, as you can see here very clearly that Dr. Sridhar is showing in view of his loss of audio, I'll tell you the distal cell is what he's pointing, and you can see that the opening on the distal cell circumflex is very good. That probably answers one of our audience, Dr. Rizwan Haq asked that the circumflex stent should be dilated more, and that could be assessed on OCT. And as I said, if the area of the ostial circumflex is around 8 millimeters, I think you can leave it alone. I agree that on the angio, it looks a little bit of maybe not dilated. That could be just a visual parallax error. So, Dr. Kasturi, we can't hear you.
Yeah, I think now it's okay.
Now we can hear you.
Now it's okay. Now we can even.
Sridhar, I think you did a very good case, and in a short time too, and very good demonstration of OCT. For want of time, we will have to leave you and go to the TAVR session. Thank you all.
Thank you all of you for your cooperation.
It's a very good case. Once again, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks to Ramesh and Sushil and everybody else. Now, Ujjwal, can we go to the next session?
Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Wonderful job.
Thank you.